Okay, so it is July 31st, 2019 when we do this. This is Mark.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Name is Jack. So, I'm Jack, and this is Mark, as I said, and we're just going to be looking through stuff. Why don't we start out with this? A couple years back, my uncle got me this. Do you remember all those like Fleischer Brother cartoons?
I do remember all those.
So that's all of them on here, but they're in shitty condition. Just the worst condition imaginable.
Well, that's how they were reviewed originally.
Yeah. So it's like I'm back in the theater. Speaking of like shitty quality films, I got these 50 packs. I think I've shown these to you before. Some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life are on these packs. But like every once in a while you'll see classic, like Phantom of the Opera is on this, and Nosferatu, Night of the Living Dead, and then DOA is on that one.
Yeah.
Which you're a fan of DOA, right?
Love DOA.
And for DOA, there's a lot of whispering. Mm-hmm. So there's like a buzzing noise on the soundtrack, so you can't tell what the hell like they're saying. So it's almost unwatchable. And then I don't even know what this is.
Gorehouse Greats.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good one. It's got Satan Slave and Blood of Dracula's Castle.
Oh yeah, classic.
Nightmare in Wax. Terrified. And with an exclamation point at the end.
Yeah.
So, it's extra terrifying. These are great movies for, like, October. Like, slam down a couple of beers, make some popcorn. These are great, foreplay movies, Great, they're great background movies for sex.
Yeah. Nothing gets me going like They Saved Hitler's Brain. Okay, so now we're going to start in the actual collection. Oh, this is one of my favorite Harryhausen movies. Like, are you a fan of Harryhausen?
Yes.
Yes.
And Sinbad is a great story, so...
Yeah, so he did a trilogy, and this was the first one. And this is the only film I saw of his after he died, because I'd seen all of them before he passed away, but I saw this one, and I was like, well, this is the last Harryhausen movie. And I was kind of sad, because man, there's just... Because he passed away, and you're like, man, there's really not going to be any more. Yeah. Like, at all. Yeah. And then I popped this in, and I was like, this was fantastic. And the soundtrack, the orchestra... is just amazing. Bernard Herrmann did this. So it's just fantastic. Okay, so 12 Angry Men.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite Sidney Lumet film.
I think so too.
So obviously, we might not talk about everything, because it's like, what are we going to talk about with this? It's like, this is a movie.
Yep. Based on a Jules Verne.
Yeah, so this is the silent version, and I have the Disney version right here.
I'm sure the silent version is better.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Probably not. Back when Zack Snyder was good.
Yeah. Very, very good. Very, still relevant. It's aged very well. Didn't Billy Wilder call it the best movie
he ever made? Yeah, Billy Wilder said this was the best movie ever made.
I don't know if I'd agree with that.
I don't agree with it either.
It's a very good movie. It's well worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely. So I bought this, and I didn't watch it until a year after I had bought it. And one of the discs was fucking... destroyed, so I had to buy a volume 3, another volume 3, because it skipped at one point, and it skipped during my favorite episode. Ugh. So I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
I love those movies, the Adam Sandler movies from the 90s too.
Oh, those are great.
I don't know why I love those. I just do.
So my sister has those, so I saw no reason to.
I love when he gets them the cake with the stripper, and then they roll it out. It's like, Lurch, you did take the girl out before you baked it, right?
Let's see what. This is a great movie. This is just the stop motion like silhouette puppets throughout the entire film. Jean Renoir calls it a masterpiece, not a masturbation piece.
The masturbation pieces are all down here. I mean that we're talking about masturbation pieces.
This is a great. I don't know what any of these movies have in common, but this is a great set. And Fox used to do these quad packs, and they stopped selling them, and I'm so pissed because they're so expensive. But this was a great, inexpensive way to get 4 quality movies.
Oh, this was just Korean.
It's Korean. So this is actually a Czech movie, but I had to order the Korean DVD because it's never been released in the U.S. When I got this, now it has. But
got it.
Oh, look at how fucking scary this is.
Oh.
Look how creepy that is. Look at that. Give you nightmares. So the guy who made the movie made stop-motion puppets out of the remnants of dead animals.
So you said this was Czech. It kind of looks like a Serbian film to me.
Yeah, oh Jesus!
A Serbian film. Yeah.
I hate you. I hate you so much. And then...
I'll have to check it out later.
Oh, I hate you.
See, what do we got here? All About Eve.
Yeah, just pull it out.
No, too hard to pull out. Okay.
What was that?
I don't know what you're too hard to pull out. What did I say? Okay. It's the most white bread movie ever made. It takes place in like suburban Connecticut or some shit. Like, I don't know. Jane Wyman was Ronald Reagan's first wife?
Yeah. It was his first wife.
First wife.
You seen this?
I've seen the play. I've never seen the movie.
So the guy who made this made The Hustler.
Oh, okay.
Which I know you're a big fan of.
Wait,
Robert Rawson.
Robert Rawson,
yeah. He lost Best Director to Joseph Mankiewicz, who won for A Letter to Three Wives.
There we are.
Yeah. This DVD, I pulled this out specifically because I wanted to talk about this for the longest time. So, on the back, it says, like, oh yeah, Beverly Garland is abandoned by her husband, Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney is in the movie, but he does not play the husband.
Yeah, I'll say of the three recent Spider-Mans, Andrew Garfield's my least favorite. I think I'm going to say Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. Because if you're paying $11 at AMC to go see a movie, why not stare at Tom Holland for 2.5 hours? I mean, I think that's money well worth spent. I don't know.
So this is an amazing... If you like silent movies, this is the box set to get, because Kino does an amazing job restoring silent movies, and these are some of the greatest silent films ever made. Man Who Laughs, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Cat and the Canary, The Penalty, and then a documentary called The Rise of the Horror Film with one of the greatest actors of all time narrating it, Rod Steiger. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's out of print, so you can't get it anymore.
So that's why make Jack an offer.
Make me an offer I can't refuse.
Make him an offer he can't refuse. Who knows?
Little trivia. So Bob Kane, the guy who invented Batman, this was the inspiration for the Joker. This is one of my favorite gangster films of all time. And they stopped selling it in North America, so I had to buy the Korean DVD. And I have a lot of these Korean DVDs for movies that they did not sell in America at the time like I wanted them. And some of them, like, they brought back. But there's other, like, this Alice DVD, like, they brought this to America. So there's almost no reason. But I don't want to update my collection just buying doubles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this one is one of the few that, in my collection of the Korean DVDs, where they still have not brought an official release over. And this is considered, like, one of the great gangster movies, you know?
Yeah.
So I just don't get why they don't...
Fun fact, did you know Korean is super easy to read and translate?
Really?
Well, not translate, but, like, the language is super easy to learn how to read and to write back. But, like, it's like my friend Chris Reed can fluently write in Korean, and he can translate between the characters and their English equivalents, but he has no idea what the hell it means. Yeah, it's like Korean is really easy to pick up, like the written language, but it's really hard to learn like what it actually, like the actual translation.
Yeah, let's give some context that Chris is white.
Yes. Yeah.
So Chris is not Asian. Yeah.
He was in the James Bond
Casino Royale.
Short cameo in the James Bond spoof with Roger Dalton. No.
I don't think Roger Dalton is a person. I think you can just combine... Timothy Dalton. I think
Roger Moore.
You just combined two of the James Bonds, and I don't think either of them were in that movie.
Roger Dalton. Gary Gable, and who was that other actor?
Marilyn Hayworth.
Marilyn Hayworth. Boris Lugosi.
Boris Lugosi, one of my favorites.
All of them were in that movie together.
Yeah. See, I was going to combine Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, and I was going to go Peter Lee. I was like, that is such a basic-ass name.
I'm sure there's a Peter Lee watching this movie.
If he's watching this and going, they said my name!
2012, great year for movies. You had Argo, you had Lincoln,
you had Django Unchained, you got Silver Linings Playbook,
Les Miserables.
Yeah. Yeah, what else came out? And then we're drawing a blank, right? We're just like, duh. And fun fact, I predicted Argo was going to win Best Picture, and then I was wrong for Best Picture every year up until this past year for Green Book.
I remember that, because remember when we used to do those columns for the Maine South newspaper?
Yeah,
I think
we
did.
did.
2 years, man. That's just
Yeah, we did.
2 years. And 2013, or no, 2016, 15 was the year we did Oscar predictions.
Yeah.
And I got every single one wrong, and you got every single one right, except we were both wrong
For Best
about Best
Picture.
Picture.
Yeah.
We both said The Revenant was going to win.
Yeah, and it was Spotlight, but I was fine with Spotlight
I
winning.
thought Spotlight was a better movie anyway.
Yeah.
I was happy that Spotlight won.
Honestly, because I saw like 4 Bresson movies in one weekend at my last school, and this was the only one I really loved.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other ones I was like, they're all right, but this one I fell in love with. This is a great 3-pack. This is, Born Yesterday, His Girl Friday, and The Awful Truth, which are all great movies. Some of the greatest comedies ever made. And, of course, Awful Truth and His Girl Friday are now on Criterion, so no one wants this pack anymore. But I recommend this pack because you got all these great movies on there.
Babel.
Yeah.
This is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Babel is an amazing movie. I love movies that start out with like different storylines in the beginning that all kind of converge at the end. I love those because I love anthologies, and it's kind of like an anthology right up until the end, and it's like 3 anthologies like turning into one. It's great. I love those movies. This movie is fantastic. The writing, if you want to be a screenwriter, like you need to study this movie like front to back, because this movie is very, very well written. I think this actually should have won Best Picture, right?
Yeah, I agree with you.
2006.
Yeah.
I love Scorsese. I love The Departed, but I think this was actually a superior movie.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with you on that.
Yes!
Mark loves this movie.
Okay. Babel and this one. Go see these movies. These are great. Bad Seed is phenomenal. I love theater. I love plays. I love movies that feel like plays. That's why I loved Fences, that Denzel Washington movie. I love that movie. I love theater. I love Broadway. This movie, it's just great. Everything about it is great.
But Barbara Stanwyck, I will say, is the best actress who ever lived. Who's your favorite actress, would you say?
I can't do it all the time. I gotta break down by decades. I'm sorry. Pick a decade.
Okay, 40s. What's your favorite in the 40s?
Pick a more recent decade.
This was the inspiration for the Batman. Actually, it was a remake called The Bat Whispers, but it's the same exact story. The Bat Whispers is another movie that's not available on DVD, and this was actually based off a play, and has one of those play feels that you were talking about that you like. So this and The Cat and the Canary were both, because horror, like haunted house plays were a big thing in the 20s, and I wish they would come back, because haunted house, like murder mysteries.
They did Scary Movie 2, they came back. Scary Movie 2.
I hate you.
You can kind of see right there, but yeah, there was a Batman portrayal before the Adam West ones, right? Adam West was not the first Batman.
Yeah, everyone forgets that.
But he's the one who maybe made it more popular.
Yeah, he's the one who really
Mainstream.
catapulted it to pop culture.
Yeah, this is my favorite Batman portrayal. The thing that this one does really well is so the reason I love Batman over the other superheroes is I think Batman has the best villains.
Yeah.
And I think the villains in Batman, they're not only really fleshed out, but there's so many of them, and they all have great backstories, and they all have great motivations and why they are criminals. And this movie, a lot of the episodes go into the backstories of the villains, and so I really like that.
This is actually my favorite rendition, my portrayal of Batman.
Who plays Batman in this one?
Peter Weller. So he was in RoboCop, and this is based off a comic by Frank Miller, and it is very dark, and it's what inspired Tim Burton and Christopher Nolan for their films.
That's right.
And the animated series. So they just adapted the 1980s comic into a 2-part animated movie, and it's amazing. Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast. Have you seen this version?
No, but this is in the Criterion Collection. See, if you got that little C, then you know it's good. It's the Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
Look for the C.
Yeah, see.
Not like the ocean, but like look for the sea. Go to the sea. I will return to the sea. No, this director
Jean Cocteau.
Yeah, I've heard. I think he predated the French New Wave.
He did. He predated it, but he was a heavy influence because he was like a poet, a writer, a director, a painter. He was like He's like a huge artist in general.
Yeah.
The cheapest amount I've ever spent on a DVD online was 99 cents free shipping for this.
Cents.
Look at this.
Free shipping. The shipping costs more than the DVD.
Yeah. Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn gorilla.
So it's like the ending of King Kong. Kind of.
Yeah, so it's this guy, Duke Mitchell and Sammy Petrello, and they're Martin and Lewis imitators. And this was like supposed to be like their first movie, and it was their only movie they ever made. It's fucking terrible. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, but
Flatbush Avenue.
About the girl I used to date who
was cross-eyed. Her eyes were so beautiful, but she was cross-eyed. You know, they couldn't. Her eyes were so beautiful they couldn't stop looking at each other.
this is one of the greatest film noirs ever made. The Big Combo.
The Big Combo.
Yeah, have you ever seen that one?
I've not seen this one.
It's the two henchmen in it are actually gay. So it was insinuated, obviously. They never explicitly say it, but it was insinuated, and that was a very big deal back then. This is the only movie in the collection I couldn't finish because of how awful it was. Are you ready?
Big Man Japan.
Just look at this.
Looks great.
Look at this shit. Like, I couldn't even get through it. I was just, like, blown away with how bizarre it was.
Harrison Ford used to work at the summer camp that I worked at.
Yeah, that's right. So he worked at the summer camp you worked at, and then
57 he worked there, and he went by the name Harry back then, Harry Ford.
And then he went to the rival high school we went to.
Manies. He went to Manies.
Yeah.
He was horribly bullied by the other camp counselors. That's why he's never kept in touch with the camp or visited. So let that be a lesson. Never piss off people.
Yeah.
They turn out to grow up and be famous.
Yeah.
And not give you money when you need it. Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
And what do you have to say about Blazing Saddles?
That's great. Come on. Mel Brooks and Rodney Dangerfield, maybe my two favorite comedians.
This movie, this is Robert Rossen again.
Okay, yep. Director of The Hustler.
Yeah, and then Abraham Polanski wrote this, and he is a sad story where his career was tarnished by the Hollywood blacklist because he was a communist. And so he, his movies suffered, and he wasn't really allowed to make movies after that. And people say that was one of the biggest losses to film history was Abraham Polanski. This is one of the greatest suspense movies ever made, and it's always marketed as a horror movie, but it is not. Got robbed for Best Picture. This should have won instead of Kramer versus Kramer. This is another one I was blown away by, because like All That Jazz and this. So All That Jazz, this, and Apocalypse Now, same year, all nominated for Best Picture. Loses to Kramer versus Kramer, the one where Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep are going through the divorce.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that happen? Yeah. Okay, I got a DVD complaint right here.
Okay.
So...
Complain away.
Okay, so this is a Francois Truffaut film. And it's French. And there's the English dub on here.
Ugh.
But there is no French audio track. So it's just the English dub.
Ew.
So you're forced to watch the English dub, and it's terrible because the first time I saw it was the French version on TCM, and I bought this movie because this is one of my favorite Truffaut films. And it was like, what the fuck? So if you're gonna do a foreign film, you need to have both tracks. Okay, you need to, because this is a bunch of bullshit right here, and I really hope Criterion does something with this. One of the great film noirs. I just released my review today on this, Brute Force. The best part about the remake of Cape Fear is that both of them had cameos.
Right.
I love Alpha Video, because they put out a lot of movie serials and silent films you can't find anywhere, but they don't restore them. So the Cat and the Canary's fantastic, but it's not restored, so it looks like shit. So if you're going to get the Cat and the Canary, don't get this. Get the Kino DVD. I believe Kino still sells that. So this is a Korean DVD, and I know everyone's going to like hate on me for this because I don't have the Criterions, but this was one of the best buys I ever did. This has got The Kid, A Woman in Paris, The Gold Rush, The Circus, City of Lights, Modern Times, Great Dictator, Monsieur Verdoux, Limelight, and The King of New York. And A Woman in Paris and A King of New York are not very good. But I got the rest for about $20. And those are all just some of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah. probably the Great Dictator, not the Great Dictator.
The Great Dirk Diggler.
The Great Dirk Diggler, Dick Durbin, no.
Dick me down, wake me up
Down.
inside.
I think the Great Dictator isn't that kind of considered his best?
I think they're all. I think City Lights might be considered his best.
Okay.
It depends on who you ask. My favorite is Limelight.
Limelight.
But my favorite silent film he did was Modern Times.
Okay.
Although there was sound integrated in, so there's debate whether or not that's truly a silent
Fun
movie.
fact: in The Circus, there's actually a scene where a woman walks by, like in the background, and it looks like she's talking on a cell phone. And so some people say that there was a time traveler who's in this movie. You can look it up on YouTube, the clip. And this was before walkie-talkies, before radios. Those didn't come until during the war. This is made before the war. And it really looked like she's holding something up to her ear and talking. So maybe there's a time traveler in this movie.
This is a hilarious show, and this DVD just went out of print, which kind of sucks, but this is a hilarious show. It lasted one season, and it was canceled because the character of Gandhi was very offensive towards the people of the Hindu religion, or his followers, I'm sorry. And, yeah, I wish they would bring back the show, but change him to, like, the clone of Gary Coleman instead.
Have you ever heard of a TV show called The Critic?
I have. I love that show.
I love it too. John Lovitz.
Yeah.
It was canceled. It's canceled too early. It should have gone on further.
I think the problem with that show is that it was on a mainstream network. It needed to be like on an AMC or a Showtime, because it's kind of a niche sense of humor. Because I remember there's an episode where he's a trucker. He's traveling on the road. And it's like, I'm not going to stop for anything. It says, like, meeting Mar Bergman. Meeting Mar Bergman! And he has to pass. He's like, oh, no. It's like, that's hilarious to us.
Yeah.
Who else is going to get that?
It's very, like, intelligent humor.
Yeah, who is going to get that? That's, like, very movie sense of humor.
Yeah.
And then we got another just unbelievably great movie.
Yeah. Crossfire. We watched this the last time a couple weeks ago. I was blown away at this movie. This was brilliant noir. There's like a soliloquy that, what's the name of the actor who gives
Robert Young.
Robert Young. I don't know why this guy should be up there with the greats. I mean, the performance this guy gave was perfect. He gives like a 6-7 minute soliloquy about like anti-Semitism, about, but not just about anti-Semitism, but about like hate and how, you know, very relevant at the time, very relevant today. It's a beautiful, beautiful speech. It's my favorite part of the movie, and it's worth every minute of the movie. It's worth your time.
Yeah, so that's a Korean DVD. I had to buy that from Korea. That's the Korean release. It's in very poor quality, but that is the only way to get it. Are you sure?
That's not Korean.
What is that then?
It looks like Chinese, but that's not Korean. Let's just look at the characters. You can tell there's a big, big difference between the characters.
Sorry, it's not focusing.
Right. Someone comment on what I don't know. It looks like Mandarin to me. Could be Cantonese. Could be. It's not Thai. That's definitely that is Korean, right? Because Korean has more of those like the circular, the ovals. And Korean is more. You know, it's a little simpler, and then this looks like Chinese. This looks like Mandarin to me. The original Day the Earth Stood Still with Michael Rennie and Patricia Neal. This one is like one of the best sci-fi movies.
This is an unbelievably good film. This is another film based off a play. Bogart, McRae, and Sylvia Sidney. So I got this signed by the director. It's called Detective Heart of America, The Final Freedom. And it's literally just an eagle statue going around fighting against terrorists and stuff.
That sounds incredible.
Oh, it's one of the greatest movies ever made. Detective Story, one of my favorite movies of all time. And another unbelievably good movie. So the guy who wrote Dead End, wrote the play for Detective Story. And then, of course, we got the Dick Tracy movie serial.
Tracy.
So this is the first screen incarnation of Dick Tracy. I'm a big fan of movie serials, as I pointed out before. All right, so now we're at the drawers. This is a good collection right here. Have you ever heard of Dr. Kildare?
Yes.
So this is like the first 9 movies that they did. And Dr. Kildare was played by Lou Ayres. And I was always pissed off because on Dr. Kildare's wedding day, they kill off his bride. Like, she dies. Then they do another movie afterwards. And then they leave it on this big-ass cliffhanger. And they never finish the series.
Well, that's no fun.
Yeah, because apparently... So Lou Ayres was a pacifist and against fighting in World War II.
Oh.
So they... So MGM dropped his ass after that, and it ruined his career. Which was very sad.
David Lynch before Lost Highway, before Mulholland Drive, but after Eraserhead.
Yeah,
so he already sort of made a name for himself.
Yeah, speaking of Eraserhead.
Speaking of Eraserhead.
There we go. that is an image.
Eraserhead. I don't know why I love Eraserhead. It's so weird, but it's so... I guess I love the backstory behind Eraserhead. So
Yeah.
I think, what was it? David Lynch, like, got a girl pregnant in college, and these were kind of like the thoughts floating through his mind about being a parent. So it's beautiful in that way. It's just like a struggling parent, like the thoughts running through his mind, and it's a really beautiful thing when you think about it. And so it's brilliant. It's a brilliant movie. Well, it's a smart, sexy, and seriously funny comedy, according to Peter Travers. So.
Yeah, and Peter Travers says it must be true.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, this is like one of the greatest covers of all time.
Yeah.
That is a fan. Because have you seen this, or did you want to?
I have seen it.
So people consider that a horror movie. Would you consider that a horror movie?
Yeah, an old style, old school horror movie. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, see, I think there's like horror-esque parts because there's definitely a really gory scene.
Right.
And I think for the most part it's more of a sad study of somebody who's got a disfigurement, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that ending is just so powerful.
Yeah.
This is the Korean version of Fantasia.
Korean Fantasia.
Yeah, or is it Chinese? You tell me. What do the characters say?
Well, that's Korean. That's definitely Korean. I don't know about the rest of this. This might be 3 different languages. That's Korean. It says you right here. Language. English, Korean, Japanese, Chinese.
So, what is your opinion on Wes Anderson?
I like Wes Anderson. I like the visuals. I like all the colors. I like all the quirkiness.
Yeah.
Some people think it's over the top. I think he gets it just right. I like to see a quirky, funny movie every now and then. The visuals are captivating and engaging. They flow really well. He's got a really creative mind, and he finds a way to channel it into his work.
See, I guess it depends on my mood, because there are days where I say to myself, Fantastic Mr. Fox is not very good. And there's other days where I say to myself, no, that's a great movie, you know? So I don't know what to think about it.
The Flintstones do do do
Do do do do do do do do. Okay, so for I wanted to grab the original Fly. So David Hedison, who was in the original, just died.
Really?
Yeah, so the main character of this movie just passed away, which is very unfortunate.
The Fog. I have heard of this movie. This isn't the M. Night Shyamalan one, is it?
No, that's I think that's The Happening.
The Happening. It's not The Fog.
Yeah. The Fog is John Carpenter.
Oh, it's John Carpenter. Well, I like John Carpenter.
Yeah, and then The Mist is Stephen King.
The Mist. That's the other one I was thinking of. Too many
weather-related horror films with stuff lurking in there. This fucking movie. This is a feature-length sock puppet movie.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is about an hour and 10 minutes. Feature-length sock puppet movie. And it is so bad it's good. I fucking love the Fractaplots. I am a very big Fritz Lang fan.
Yes.
So this is a great set for anybody who likes Fritz Lang.
No M.
Yeah, no, he did M.
Right, but none.
Yeah, M is not. I have M, but it's this is like a lot of his obscure movies that a lot of people don't know about. And have you seen Frost Nixon?
No.
I think you'd like that. That's about the interviews that Nixon
Yeah.
did with Frost.
Yeah. Ron Howard's finest film yet? Maybe.
Honestly, that might be the last good movie that Ron Howard made.
Maybe it is.
Although my dad really liked Rush. I haven't seen Rush. That's with Chris Hemsworth, and he's the race car driver. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to see that. But from my experience watching Ron Howard, that's like his last good movie. So this is a movie that Scorsese praises the hell out of. And it's
The Furries.
That's what I thought the first time. It's actually the Furies.
The Furies.
And
like Nick Fury.
I have no idea why it's called this. It makes no sense. But so this is directed by a guy named Anthony Mann, who he is one of my idols in terms of filmmaking. And I hate this movie. This is the only movie of his I hate. I love everything, even his bad movies like The Great Impersonation and Railroaded. I love, but I hate this movie. I really do. Garbo documentary.
Garfield.
Yeah, you wanna?
Garfield.
Yeah, she says, I want to be alone. Give me my lasagna.
Not to be confused with Big.
Yeah, totally different movies.
Both adjectives, both denoting huge.
Both
but-
star-making movies for
Yes.
two of the most famous actors of all time. Although Rebel Without a Cause probably did.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I
Did this
think
come before or after?
that was after. This is James Dean's last movie.
Not East of Eden?
East of Eden came first, then it was Rebel Without a Cause, then Giant.
Oh, yeah. That's what...
Like, I can
Oh,
forgive Bride of the Monster, Plan 9. I can't forgive this movie.
Oh, it's like Jack and Jill, right? When he changes between man and woman.
Yeah, it's Jack and Jill, right? It's the original. Not many people know that Adam Sandler remade Glen or Glenda as Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill has just a great cast. It's like, really, it's got like great actors in it.
Yeah, isn't Al Pacino, isn't it?
John McEnroe makes a cameo appearance.
Holy shit, really? I never knew that.
Yeah, he makes a small cameo appearance. I saw it on IMDb that he made a small cameo appearance in Jack and Jill.
This is one of my favorite Criterions of all time.
The golden age of television.
Yeah, so, before Lucille Ball, changed the way television and sitcoms were made, television was mostly live plays, like
Right.
all one take. So Robert Altman, Sidney Lumet, John Frankenheimer, Sidney Pollack, and Arthur Hiller all got their start doing live TV. And, some of these became very famous movies, like Marty was a TV play, and then it went on to win Best Picture in 1955. No Time for Sergeant became an Andy Griffith film, which was like a vehicle that made him a star. Bang the Drum Slowly became a Robert De Niro movie. Requiem for a Heavyweight, Days of Wine and Roses, those became two very famous movies. So yeah, I wish they would do more of these, because I love Golden Age of TV. I love watching the live plays. It's such great writing. Rod Serling, creator of The Twilight Zone, wrote a couple of those.
Oh.
Yeah, he wrote The Comedian, Requiem for a Heavyweight, and Patterns. All great plays. What are your thoughts on Gran Torino?
I like Gran Torino. I like it. Get off my lawn.
Every time I see that, I'm like, God, that's my grandpa. Okay, so a lot of people call this like one of the worst Best Picture winners ever.
Yeah.
And I disagree. I think it's actually a pretty good movie. I think there's a lot worse movies that have won Best Picture. But,
I agree with that.
Yeah, what do you think is the worst Best Picture winner of all time?
Crash.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I actually didn't hate Crash. I just thought Brokeback Mountain was better and Capote was better.
Good Night and Good Luck.
Good Night and Good Luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say probably the worst in my opinion was Shakespeare in Love.
That one too. That was the year we were born.
Yeah,
Jack and I were born only 9 days apart.
This is a movie.
Gulliver's Travels.
So that was like Fleischer Brothers' retaliation to Disney. And it's actually not a bad movie. It's just that print is awful because it's Alpha Video.
39, best year.
Yeah, best year, 1939. So there's a little, like...
Gumby.
like, there's a little flap. You can also open it.
Oh my god, it's Gumby.
So we got Halloween, we got Hammer horror films. I love Hammer horror films.
Halloween. I love the first Halloween.
Yeah.
I never saw any of the others. I guess I lied. This is maybe one of the only horror movies I've ever seen. But I loved it. It's a movie about a false sense of security. About how the parents think they can just get rid of their problems by sending this kid away. About how the characters in the movie think that they're safe when Mike isn't around.
So that Netflix show, The Haunting of Hill House, that's based off this movie.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's based off the book called The Haunting of Hill House, which is a Shirley Jackson book, which she's the one who wrote The Lottery, if you know what that is.
No. High Noon, Jerry Cooper.
The Inquisition, let's begin the Inquisition. Look out, sin.
We're on a mission
To convert the Jews.
Yeah, this is a great one.
Yeah, when is part 2 gonna be made?
As I said before, love Mel Brooks. I mean, the funniest part is that he's playing Takamata. Favorite Mel Brooks movie would be... What is my favorite Mel Brooks movie?
My favorite's Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, probably Young Frankenstein. But he didn't really act in Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, no, I think he narrated the trailer, but that's about it.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but one of the more underrated movies. He made a movie, a World War II movie actually, kind of a comedy about... it's called To Be or Not to Be.
Oh, yeah. That's a remake of a
Yes,
Jack Benny movie,
It was a remake. I think the Mel Brooks one is great. I think it's a far underrated. It's kind of forgotten about in his filmography.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget because he didn't direct it, you know?
Yeah, but he acts in the movie, and it's a great movie.
And then what's funny, I just want to point out about my collection is that I got 4 Fox film noirs, and they all start with House. So it's House of Strangers, House of Bamboo, House on 92nd Street, House on Telegraph Hill. It's like, what's with all the fucking houses, man?
Dr. House.
Dr. House.
That too.
Yeah. This was one of the movies that made me realize what a fantastic actor he is and why he's definitely one of the greatest actors of all time. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when we were at Mark's Lake House?
We did, yeah.
And we watched that. And I actually watched that twice in one weekend because Mark saw it and then you, Mark, wanted to see it. So we watched it twice in one weekend. That was a great weekend.
That was great.
So for the context, for people who don't know, Mark was working at a summer camp up in Wisconsin. And it just so happened it was the same summer camp, same lake.
That our other friend Mark
had a lake house on. Mm-hmm. And I was with our other friend Mark. And we found out, I think through Snapchat or Snap Maps, that you were there. And we're like, hey, dude, we're here.
It's like, you're awfully close. Are you stalking us? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, I work here.
Yeah.
So.
This is a very poignant film, The Invention of Lying.
I saw the trailer for this film. I never saw the film, but I remember liking the trailer. So
yeah, I saw this when I was younger, and I got it, and I liked it, and then I saw it again years later. I'm like, God, this is actually a really good movie. Who else never liked the Tim Curry It?
Never saw it. Don't watch horror movies.
It's not scary. It's awful. My sister watched it so much, and then she watched this one again in preparation for the new one with Bill Skarsgård, and she was like, why did I waste so much of my life on that movie? And I was like, I don't know.
Some consider this Clark Gable's best movie.
I'm torn between this, Mutiny on the Bounty, and Gone with the Wind, all which are Best Picture winners. Yeah. And he's the lead. So it's pretty impressive filmography right there. This film inspired me to be a filmmaker. Really? Because I loved Lord of the Rings, I loved Star Wars. This is when I said, this is what I need to do with my life. Wow. Which is funny because the original King Kong inspired people. And I eventually did see the original King Kong, and it inspired me even more. Mm-hmm. But this version I saw when it first came out back in 2005. Scared the shit out of me, but I was just like, yes, this is it. This is what I need to do with my life. Both of these actually, I'll pull both of these out. These are both great Japanese horror movies, and they're not scary, but they creep you out because of the atmosphere they build. Mm. What's your opinion on La La Land?
La La Land.
On the La La Land.
7 or 6?
Six. Yeah. Is it?
Wait, 7 or 6? Wasn't there?
Wasn't there a Best Picture in there somewhere?
Was it? Maybe not. Okay. I liked it.